Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is A Drought is Upon Her Waters. And pretty much this lesson comes through the inspiration of a video I was watching earlier that Elder Pastor Hart did, dealing with these famine stones, whatever they're called. And it's funny because maybe about a week ago or so, I ran into some articles pertaining to that. I sent it to a couple of brothers, but the Spirit never jumped on me to do a lesson on it. And the Spirit jumped on Elder Pastor Hart to do it, and he did a lesson on it. And pretty much, they're showing you that around the world, when you start seeing these particular stones, that means a great famine is approaching, because what's causing that is a drought, which the Heavenly Father is doing, and he's in certain areas he's causing these devils to do it on purpose, and other places he's just drying it up because this is a part of prophecy, and drought brings about famine. I have the word drought here. It says a prolonged period of abnormally low rainfall leading to a shortage of water. And it's no coincidence that there's shortages of water going on all over the earth. Like I said, it's the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, doing it, and even if it's man-made, the Lord controls everything because man's goings are of the Lord. So I have here, you know what, I'll put this in the description, not the description box, I'll put this in the chat if brothers want to go to it. I didn't put this in the description box. Usually I put my articles in there, but I didn't really have any except for this one I forgot about. It says current and historical droughts around the world. And it gives you a graph, right? Drought, an extended period of rainless weather that causes a considerable water imbalance. And what it does, it gives you a graph of the world, and it gives you, location of ongoing and historical droughts. So all of the historical droughts that happen in history are in brown, as you can see all over the place here. You had the Dust Bowl, the Great Drought of 1276 through 99. You have Dalton Minimum 1770 to 1840, the Ethiopian famine, so on and so forth. These are all historical events that took place. And this particular year, 1876 to 1878, that was real bad because you had famines down here in India and as well as in North China. All right, then you have the red, and everything that's in the red are present day or from, more up-to-date dates, where these droughts are occurring around the world, and these droughts are causing problems with the food. So not only do you have food shortages that's, being manipulated behind the scenes, but you also have droughts. You have lack of food, and people are not really feeling they feeling the pinch a little bit, but they're not really feeling it as much as they will be feeling it, because you have to remember you had storehouses. Now those storehouses, once they start becoming empty, that's when, the problems are going to really occur, because currently you have about 8 billion people on planet Earth. A majority of people on the planet Earth do not farm. They do not provide or produce their own food. They rely on stores and fast food places, things of that nature, to go and get their food from them. So there's not that much farming, and the farmers that are out there now are being paid to destroy crops, to destroy livestock, so on and so forth, because they have a plan. That one of their main plans, I believe that was Kissinger that said that, using food as a weapon. And that's pretty much what they're doing, because they have an agenda, and they know that the ultimate motivator to control somebody and make them do what they want them to do is by starving them out. This is what happens in different sieges, so on and so forth. So I typed in Euphrates drying up. This is part of biblical prophecy. Lord's, we're going to get to that. It says, why is river Euphrates drying up? For years, the construction of dams upstream of Turkey, Syria, Iran has partially blocked the flow of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers on which Iraq depends. Climate change is contributing to rising temperatures and erratic rainfall, pushing fears of water shortages in Iraq to new levels. Then we have here Tigris and Euphrates River drying up. Iraq's Water Resources Ministry warned in a shocking report last December that the continuing loss of water from the Tigris and Euphrates, which form the backbone of its freshwater supplies, could turn the country into a land without rivers by 2040. And you have, drought around the world. Receding waters reveal historical marvels during summer's drought. You have certain things that are popping up all over the place. Scorching global droughts has uncovered lost artifacts around the world. Low water levels reveal ancient relics, ships, and villages. Nazi ships, so on and so forth. And it gives you like a whole bunch of different articles and droughts in different places around the world, which one of the places is here in Babylon the Great. A couple of places. You have California and you have Northern Ontario Prairie provinces, down here in South America. So there's a lot of droughts going on, which is causing famine because crops rely on water in order for them to be able to grow. No water, no growth. So I want to start off here in Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 38, which is a prophetic scripture dealing with Babylon the Great, which is America. This has nothing to do with ancient Babylon. This has everything to do with modern day Babylon. Jeremiah chapter 49, 50, and 51. All have to do with today in these modern times. And the coming destruction, woes, and calamities that will befall this wretched whore, America. So it says, a drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. And the Lord is visiting Esau for all of the wickedness that they've done, plus for everything that they've done against the nation of Israel. You're going to find out that one of the main reasons the Lord is judging America and these other nations is because of what they did to us, to the Israelites. Remember, the Lord said he has a controversy, against these devils for the controversy of Zion. The word there is karab for drought, dryness. Because the word karab or harab is sword, and drought is one of the swords of the Lord that he's using, to bring forth his prophecies to pass. It says dryness, desolation, drought, heat, dryness, drought, parching heat. And when you go to these images here, you can see the ground is parched, it's chapped. Why does ground look that way? Because of lack of moisture, lack of water. So if you're trying to grow anything in this soil that's dried up like that, you're gonna be planting, you're gonna be planting in vain pretty much, because it's not gonna grow. You have a chart here, or it says what are droughts? A drought is a period of time when there is a lack of water on land. Plants and crops do not grow properly. Plants and animals die, and streams and rivers shrivel up because farm crops and animals die due to lack of water. There is less food for people to eat, and the price of food goes up. Why? Because of supply and demand. If a drought lasts, and this is why, matter of fact, let's get that. This is why in the book of Revelation 6, which this is why you're supposed to look up your words, because Elder Apostle Tar looked this word up, and it makes sense, because if you're reading it in the language of today, English in modern terms and modern American terms, you would think it says, Revelation 6 and 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. Nope, sorry, the wrong one. Verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, and it says here what? Third seal, famine. I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hands. Because what are the balances? The balances are set for judgment. All right. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny. So you're thinking, if we're thinking in modern terms, right, like a penny today, most people throw away pennies. So say, oh, that's not bad. A measure of wheat for a penny. That means that you're going to be doing good. Things are going to be cheap. And 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see that I heard not the oil and the wine. But when you examine these words, or this particular word for the word penny, that's when you get a broader understanding of what this is speaking about, because it goes into the word denarion. Now you had a denarion, or the denarius, which was made out of what? Silver. And that would equal a day's pay for a soldier, right? So it says denarius containing 10, right? Because denarius goes back to the word 10. A Roman silver coin in New Testament time, it took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, and that's a lot of money. A number after 217 BC increased to 16, about 3.9898 grams, or 1,375 ounces. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wage or wages. You see? So what it could have took you probably a couple of dollars to buy, a measure of wheat or 3 measures of barley, now it's going to take you a whole day's pay to get them same things. So this is why, supply and demand is when supplies are low and demands are high, the retailer or the person selling can jack the prices up higher, to whatever they want. I give an example from time to time when, 2020 hit and there was a shortage of peroxide and alcohol, not the drinking alcohol, but the rubbing alcohol. You had these goddamn Ishmaelites selling a small ass thing of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, that you could have got for about 79 cents at a dollar store or pharmacy. They were selling it for $10, $15. Hence supply and demand. All right. So that's what's going to be causing these famines and the price increase. As we read here, there is less food for people to eat and the price of food goes up. If a drought lasts a long time, people may also die of starvation and the land might turn into a desert. And it's fitting that is happening this way because America is going to be that desert. America is going to be a desert at the end of it all. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It's so good to be out of the rain. And it's funny because the name of that group that did that song was called America. And they said it meant something else, but it means what it says, man. America will be a desert. Okay, let's see. America, horse with no name. All right, let's see. We got America here, horse with no name. On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name because there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La, la. It goes on the song. I said, after 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. Esau. Even though they might be Jakes. And after 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed. And the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. Ooh. I never looked at these lyrics before. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your name because there ain't no one for to give you no pain. After 9 days, I let the horse run free because the desert had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rings. Nah, but this ain't gonna happen. It's gonna go from this to the desert. The ocean is a desert with its life underground, and a perfect disguise above. Under the cities lies a heart made of ground, but the human will give no love. You see, I've been through the desert, blah blah blah. All right, so pretty much, you get the gist. All right, so let's read this again. Jeremiah 50:38. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. And the Lord is going to scorch Esau and 2/3 of Israel and the other nations here in America for all of this wicked abominations that they commit. Now, reading this particular precept here in the Red Bible, which is the Watchtower Bible, the King James Version 1611, brothers been asking. There's no numbers or anything on it, just that you could just type in Jehovah Witness Watchtower King James edition of the Bible, see what comes up. So there were precepts, and one of the precepts was here in Isaiah 44:27, which is bad. That saith to the deep, this is the Most High, be dry, and I will dry up thy rivers. So who's doing this? The Most High is doing this. Why? Let's go to Amos chapter 3, verse 6. It says, shall a trumpet be blown in a city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and the Lord have not done it? So who's causing these droughts? Who's causing the waters to dry up? It's the Most High. Then another precept was Jeremiah 51. The point is in 32 and 36, but we're going to read a couple of these verses here. It says, and that the passages are stopped. The passages, you have dams and different things that are set up to close off certain waters from going down into particular rivers, right? Because we read here, right here, for years, the construction of dams upstream of Turkey, Syria, and Iran has partially blocked the flow of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers on which Iraq depends, you see? So here it says, and the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war were affrighted. Yeah, because as these droughts are happening, as these famines are happening, as they're pushing the MOTB along, one other thing that's going on around the world is the amassing of these different militaries around the world. And when shit really hits the fan, these, military men that pride themselves in being, warriors or whatever the case they want to call themselves are going to turn into women. Because shit is going to be so bad. And then on top of that, the visions that they're going to see, which is going to be actual of Yahushua, the chariots, the angels coming to tear, it's going to be a mind that is not equipped to understand these things is going to straight up bug out. Doesn't matter how, great of a warrior they may be. If you encounter something that you don't like the movie Predator, when they encountered the Predator, they certain guys started going cuckoo. Because they expect to fight a man, but then when they're fighting an angelic being, something that's out of their comprehension of their mind, they can't function. The movie 13th Warrior, Antonio Banderas, he was afraid of those things because he thought they were half man, half beast, until he killed one and he looked at it. He said, it's a man, and that gave him more courage to fight, because now he knows that it's a man and it's not some crazy beast or some crazy, bugged out thing. So a lot of these individuals are going to bug out. It says, for thus saith the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like unto a threshing floor. They're ready. America is ready. America is ready for the Lord to thrash her. to crush, to crush her grapes, to stomp her in the midsection. It is time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of harvest shall come. Yeah, because we're in the time of harvest. It's just about ready. The floors are just about full. You're gonna take about another handful of grapes, and once those grapes fill that floor, there's no more room for anything else. That's when the stomping is gonna take place. Read Revelation 14. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, hath devoured me. He hath crushed me. Yeah, and this represents today the American presidential system, for lack of better words, under the behest of the international banking families. They are the modern day Pharaoh. They are the modern day Nebuchadnezzar. They are the modern day kings, of Babylon the Great. It says, he hath crushed me. He hath made me an empty vessel. How? By destroying the Israelites. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicates. He hath cast me out. Right. And we have been cast out, and it's a shame, because here it is. We fit all of the curses in the scriptures, but yet they still will not acknowledge us as being the Israelites. To add insult to injury, as they say. It says, the violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon. Because remember, the Lord is judging this place because of what they did to us. That's why it says, rejoice over her, the apostles or prophets, for the Lord hath avenged you on her. So it says, shall the inhabitant of Zion say, right, this is what we're going to be saying. For the violence done unto me, let it be upon Babylon. And my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea shall Jerusalem say. And this is why the Lord is judging this devil, because of what they did to us and the nations. Not just these devils here, the nations also. Therefore thus saith the Lord, behold, I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. So this is what's happening. There's a great drought happening worldwide, which is helping push forward the famines. And it's going to be bad, because remember, they have an agenda, population reduction, culling the herd, or whatever you want to call it. They destroyed the Georgia Guidestones because they already got past that point. It's already in the works. So they're not worried about it. They're moving into the next phase of their agenda. And that's why you see everything going on worldwide the way it's going, in the direction that it's going. Because they really believe in their heart of hearts, that demonic heart of theirs, that they're going to continue on forever. Now let's go to Revelation 16 and 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was what? Dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So in the midst of all of what's going on, these nations are being gathered together, their armies, to fight. Let's look up the word dried up. Zeraino. Right. It says to make dry, dry up, wither, to become dry, to be dry, be withered, of plants, of the ripening of crops. Right. Because if you have no moisture, the crops cannot ripen. The crops cannot grow. Of fluids, of the members of the body, to waste away, pine away, an example, a withered hand. So pretty much what's drying up is all of the resources and food supplies around the world. And that's also going to cause what? Thirst. Because people need to drink. The movie Book of Eli, what was one of the main things? What did he control? He controlled the water supply. And people had to come to him to buy these things, these commodities that they couldn't get anywhere else. So what happened? They had to be subjected to his rules and regulation. I'm talking about Carnegie. It's no coincidence that they picked the name Carnegie. That's one of the top banking families, and they had to come to him and bow to his will in order to be able to get water and to be able to survive and thrive and live in that, parched society. All right, so let's go back. Let's go to the book of Revelation 8 and 8. And the second angel sounded, as it were, a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea. And this is fitting because this is just like America. Like it says in either Jeremiah 50 or Jeremiah 51, it says, I will make thee a burnt mountain. It says, and the third part of the seas became blood. Why does it mention the third part of the seas? Because the third part of man is what? The sons of the wicked. The earth is separated into three classifications of men. You had the sons of God, or the Israelites. You had the sons of men, which are the other nations, and you have the sons of the wicked, which are the Edomites. That's the three classifications of men. And the ones that are ruling right now are the sons of the wicked, the Edomites. So their world is what's going to collapse, what's going to suffer these things. It says, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. Yeah, because you're going to have ships that are going to be close by the dock, waiting up the dock or whatever the case may be, that are very close to America, that are going to be burnt up by this fire, this nuclear fire. It says, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. This is dealing with wormwood, and wormwood represents contamination. All right, and the name of the star was called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Right, if something is just bitter, it's not going to kill you. You drink bitters. There are bitter things that you take, that you eat every day, wormwood and different things of that nature that actually help kill parasites. If you take too much of it, eventually it messes you up, but it's not going to kill you. But in this case, it's going to kill because it's not talking about just being bitter. It's talking about, the contamination from the radiation of these missiles. All right. It says, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. This is dealing with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Esau. And also, when this destruction happens, you're going to have certain parts of this on this side of the world that are not going to be able to see the sun for a certain period of time because of all the thick smoke that's going to be going up. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of three angels which are yet to sound, which was World War I, World War II, and World War III. And we're fast approaching World War III. The players are already there. Just need the right thing to happen to move the chess pieces forward. And I was going to read a couple of verses here and end the lesson there. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Because Ezra saw the actual destruction and collapse of society. So he wanted to know, how was he going to be protected in these days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death. See? The beginning of famine and great death. That's why they're using food as a weapon. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. What powers? The powers of these different governmental agencies around the world. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague. See, and these are two of the most prevalent things happening right now. Famine and plague. You see it all around the world. It says, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Right, because obviously you're doing something wrong, so the Lord is spanking you. But they're not going to take heed. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Yeah, because it's just like in the days of Noah. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Yeah, because right now, people think that things are kind of returning back to normal. The gas prices are coming down. It seems like, things are kind of finally starting to normalize and come back to what it's supposed to be. But really, it's just a facade, a mirage, And being that the dollar keeps being devalued, this winter is going to be tough because people are going to have to decide whether they're going to heat their home or eat. There's going to be some serious changes going on around these parts here. And the powers shall stand in fear the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish shall send their scourges for a moment. But for all these things shall they not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. And one good thing right here, this word scourges here that they're not mindful of, is down there in Louisiana. What happened during the time of the flood? People were all messed up, But what happened? They went right back to doing the shit they were doing prior to the floods coming. And after things cleared up, they went right back to the same freak shit that they've done that keeps causing these things to happen. So they ain't gonna change. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Because as Gerald Salente said, when people have nothing else to lose, they lose it. Especially here in America. They're not used to anything going outside of the ordinary. If you go through the drive-thru, these people are so bugged out in their mind that if their order takes a second or two more or longer than it normally does, they start losing it. Because it's the shit that they putting in the food that's making them lose it. You've had people that actually climb through the drive-through window because they took too long with their orders and start acting a fool. And mainly Jake. Shit's fucked up. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, see? And the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So there's something around the corner for every and each individual that is not a part of the elect of the nation of Israel. And if a person is not a part of the elect, even if they're an Israelite, if you get through certain of these things, guess what? Something is going to get you along the way. And if nothing gets you, the missiles will get you at the end. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. This reminds me of Zephaniah, the 1st chapter. And there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Because these cities are going to get shut down. They show you that in all these apocalyptic movies. I Am Legend, Contagion. Shit happens, shit pops off, what happens? They shut shit down. The military comes in, they declare martial law, state of emergency, whatever the case may be. They cut off the cities, they put checkpoints up. And you can't move around like you normally do. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? Yeah, because even right now as we speak, you have people that are not going to work for these farmers because of the money situation or whatever the case may be. The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. Yeah, because they're going to shut these cities down. So that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. And you see these apocalyptic movies like The Road. When you see a whole bunch of people coming, what do most people do? They hide. Because you had gangs of people coming through that were seeing other people kill them, take their shit, chop them up, and eat them. Cannibalism coming back in a big way. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives, or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. Yeah, and you notice in them different movies, the same thing. People going through the houses, killing people, taking stuff, or scrounging for scraps, looking for something to eat, looking for weapons, looking for gasoline. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. You see the movie I Am Legend, how you see New York and things were grown over. You had quarantine signs all over the place, and wildlife took over. You had deer and lions running through the streets. It says, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. It's going to be bad out here, man. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. So this is a message to us, the hopeful elect. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Yeah, because most of these people, especially Jake out here, they're going to fall for the okie doke. And they're going to roll in the direction of Esau. Even though Esau has done all kind of wickedness to him, they're still going to roll in that direction. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. And they ain't going to slack. As it says here, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. So these things are not going to slack. It's just going to intensify from this point on. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. And why will the world mourn? Because the Lord is bringing it upon the world, and because the wicked are in authority. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Right? You know, using this world is not abusing it. Get in and get out. Because hard times are coming. A drought is upon her waters. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.